Improving our physical or virtual workspaces. So this could be organizing them, decluttering them, getting them labeled, getting them better organized so that you're grabbing the right thing. It's very close when you need it. You don't have to walk all the way across the plant, or you don't have to click 18 times to get there. Now, the first step that I always take is to get the before. So to take pictures, to do some screenshots. So let me see how we started, because when you've made the improvement, it's going to make you feel so awesome to see the before and after. So I really recommend going out there, getting pictures, or doing some activities ahead of time. What are some of those activities that you can do? There's 3 questions that I like to ask before we get started. Does this item belong here? How frequently do we use it? And how much are we moving in this workspace? So if we're able to answer these 3 questions, it makes the decisions about taking things out of the workspace or adding them in or moving them around, it makes it much easier. So what I recommend that you do is do a screenshot, or if you have a physical workspace, get a map. Once you have the map of this workspace, you're going to have these 3 different questions. So you want 3 copies of that map. The first one is belonging. So get a few highlighters, maybe 2 to 4. I usually use 4 different colors to highlight this map, and use those to say whether things belong. So maybe your green highlighter is something that definitely belongs to that person at that workstation. Your blue highlighter, maybe that's for this belongs to this workspace, this manufacturing line. The, let's say, orange highlighter or yellow highlighter, maybe that one indicates that it belongs to that department. And the red highlighter is going to tell you it doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong to this organization, or it doesn't belong to this department, right? So you can go ahead and do that exercise, and you can really start seeing the areas that you have things that belong and don't belong. It also removes a bit of the subjectiveness. So rather than saying, hey, Joe, don't put your stuff here, you have a very clear picture of this is where our personal belongings go. Right? Now, the second thing is frequency. How often are you using it? So those things that you use least frequently might be red, right, with your highlighter. So that might be your red highlighter, or things that you never use. But your green highlighter are things that you use each and every day. Now, I did this activity at my desk a few years ago, and I was actually amazed at identifying some things that I use every day that I was having to reach for or walk away to go get. And then I was like, I can just move them onto my desk. So I moved some things onto my desk that I hadn't thought of before. Now, how far do we have to move? If you take that same map, go ahead and follow around either your product or service, or follow around an employee. And you can simply draw a line, like you see sometimes on those running maps. Simply draw a line following that employee around for the day. Once you're done, you're going to see how much they're moving around to either get things or moving around because of the way things are laid out. Now, what we want to do whenever possible is to make our workspaces very flexible. The more flexible those workspaces are, the easier they are to change if customer demand changes. So always try to make them as flexible as possible. There is a tool that you can use to start decluttering your workspace. It's called 5S. And those S's stand for sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. So in set in order, what you're going to do is you're going to throw away all of the trash. Anything that doesn't belong, you're going to go ahead and you're going to toss out. Then you're going to create some red tag areas. So there might be things that you're not sure if they belong there, right? This goes back to that belonging conversation. Now, what you can do is to create an area that either has, that's your red tag area, or actually has like a physical tag on it. And each time somebody has to go to that area to take something away, now you know that that is something that someone uses. So you're not going to throw it away. This is kind of a purgatory for some of your items. Now you need to make sure that you set a date for how long things will stay in that 5S area, because we don't want things to stay forever. So set a date that say, hey, if nobody uses these items by March 5th, then we're going to throw them out, right? This is your red tag area. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to set an order. We're going to think about how frequently we use things, how big things are, and we're going to organize our workspace so that those things we use most often are closest to us, right? Those things that are heaviest maybe are on the bottom shelf or easier to move. Then we're going to shine. We're going to clean. We're going to make our machines spick and span. We are going to put labels on things. We are going to scrub the floor if we need to. We also might need to put in some visual signals. So maybe some tape on the ground, maybe painting, maybe something that indicates pinch points, right? Any of those visual indicators that we think are going to help us do our work more effectively and efficiently. Next, we are going to standardize. We might have audits or inspections, and we might have assignments that we put out so that people can maintain these spaces. Now, one of the recommendations that I have when you put together these audits and assignments is to rotate the ownership. So each week, somebody else owns the 5S. Somebody else owns looking at these workspaces and identifying if anything is out of place. This helps to make it not one person's job and gives people that maybe are more fastidious the chance to flex that muscle, right? So whenever you have some employees come on to their 5S duties, they might take them very, very seriously, where other team members might be part of creating the problem. So this gives you a bit of consistency as well, without having one person consistently assigned to it. Now, this is the hardest part, is sustaining it. So making sure each week, each month, that person is going in and making any changes that they need to maintain that 5S. Now, if you are an employer, a business owner, a manager, it's up to you to help be a part of that sustainment, of reinforcing that that's something that we look at. Now, if you're asking the question, what does good look like? This might factor into that. What good looks like might be a clean and organized workspace.